Honey, it's time for your mold. I did in fact see that Asmongold published this video. Well, it's not Asmongold, it's Asmongold's editor on his Clips channel. And it's on the Clips channel because you couldn't find more to say. But for people who haven't seen it here.
The Ethan thing? I remember somebody told me about this.
I think it's embarrassing for Ela here to be like, this is so traumatic for the kids. You're trying to traumatize the children. It's like...
So basically, these people collectively got together and called CPS on Ethan and Ela's kids.
For context...
Just me when I lie? Okay.
This is the same person we had to deal with before.
30K to anyone who'll make this... Isn't it cute that his editor has to lie all the time?
I saw a clip of a streamer doing a 30K bounty on you, didn't get banned. Yeah, but she did that. She was joking around, and also, I'll say it. The FBI actually contacted me about that, and I talked to the FBI, and I chose not to pursue any charges or any problems with it. Yeah. But yeah, I chose not to do it. The reason why I chose not to do it is because I rewatched the clip and she clearly was not talking about me.
Dude, that bag must be so big, dude. Fuck. That bag must be so big. If shit disappear.
And now she's been on a generational run of hating against Ethan Klein during almost every...
Hating on Ethan Klein.
Single stream of hers, to the point they literally had Child Protective Services called on H3H3's family. And as you...
I like, this is, oh man, it's like, we need to study disinfo campaigns, by the way, from people like Asmongold or his editor, right? I know that all of this really stems from the original disinfo campaigns surrounding Gamergate, so much so that I think like even people like Roger Stone ended up picking up on those disinfo campaigns, which is what helped Trump win both the first time and the second time. I just struggle to take someone seriously who's too much of a to speak, that has to use a TTS. Oh, Steve Bannon, excuse me. Like, you know that this guy sounds like a total fucking loser, and that's why he doesn't use his real voice. And then I remember that, and I'm like, yeah, life's okay.
You might notice she immediately deleted the VOD after this happened, and now she's trying to dismiss the event as nothing crazy.
Dog, you literally, the vast majority of people are, like, are not remembering anything that happened to them at 3.
Man. So it's okay to do anything to a 3-year-old because they...
Where did I say that, Asmongold? You made that up. You actually just made that up. You actually just made that up.
They won't remember it.
It's just sympathy, right? It's just, she's just pulling like the IDF classic card.
The IDF, the Israeli Defense Force? What does this have to do with the IDF?
She served in the IDF. That's what it has to do with it. She picked up most likely plenty of IDF strategies because she was literally trained to, because she was literally in the IDF. The IDF strategy, I mean, Israel's strategy with regard to committing their genocide is just to accuse everyone of doing what they do. It's a very effective strategy because lying is OP, right? That's why currently the strategy for Ela and Ethan Klein is just to lie about all their enemies, clip them out of context as much as they can, and push as much disinfo as they can.
IDF.
Like, please. And then sympathy farm, right? If it's so difficult, please, everyone that is against us needs fucking awful experiences because we're the ones dealing with the real awful experiences.
What? I don't even know what to say. The fuck are we watching? She was in the IDF? Yeah, she was in the IDF because every single person that was born and lives in Israel has to serve in the IDF.
Nope, wrong. A large percentage of the population is able to get out of conscription. Also, there are literally clips of her saying, yeah, if they didn't give me a more interesting station, I was going to figure out how to get out of my conscription, my mandatory service.
But it was all on the computer. It just felt like some computer thing.
Right, okay. So like, secretary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it was super boring, and I really hated it. Because it was just like, I had to take a bus super early, go there, spend the whole day, go back home. I hated it. So I tried to change my role. And it was something like you can apply for it, and it's a form that you fill out, and then they're gonna give you something else, completely random. You have
Different
no
position,
idea.
different post,
Yeah.
different location.
So I decided to do that, and if I don't like the second one, then I'll just find a way to get out of the army.
When you're taking pleasure in your work and you specifically want to see the more exciting actions, so you go on a terrorist raid to Ramallah City.
You told me once you went on like a mission with them to like a terrorist city.
Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy story.
Yeah, my officers and like the soldiers in that brigade, they would go every night on a raid
Right.
in Ramallah to arrest terrorists. And so I always saw them preparing for it and leaving, and then I would stay in the base. So one time I wanted to go with them just to experience it.
Why? You just were all of a sudden had an urge to go with them?
I just wanted to see what it's like.
Right.
I wanted to see it.
Okay.
So they took me with them one night, even though they weren't supposed to.
When you explicitly want that action, otherwise you will find a way to get out of service. That's literally you choosing to be there. What? Like, I don't,
Including women.
Hila did worse to Palestinian kids in the IDF. I mean, I'm sure she's thought about doing terrible things to people when she was in the IDF. There's literally a clip of AB saying Israelis are trained to like hate Palestinian children and think that they're terrorists from a young age. And then she says, well, like, that's not even that absurd of a concept. She literally says, I mean, here, the I mean clip.
Kill Americans. That's Israeli. Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
That's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean,
Like
Put
Kamala,
the other one.
I could add it.
He says that.
Rudy Giuliani said Palestinians are taught to kill Americans at 2 years old. And what does she say? I mean, can you imagine unironically defending the statement, Palestinians are taught to kill Americans at 2 years old? This isn't a matter of of mandatory service making someone forever terrible, right? There's a lot of documentaries and videos that we've seen of people who served in the IDF, and it took their service in the IDF and time away from it to be like, wait, we're just genociding these people. Wait, fuck this government. And now they do tours in Israel for people who want to see what the occupation looks like. It's not like you're forever branded as like a horrible person because you ever served in the IDF. It's that you have no desire to look at your country critically for even a moment and say, wait, are we the baddies here? And if you're at that point, I wouldn't care if Hila was like, yeah, I did service. Now that I have some time away from it, it really does feel like this is a one-sided fight. And I kind of regret my service. And I think I thought I was helping, and I don't think I was, and I don't think the IDF is anymore. No one would still hold her accountable for things that she said or did when she was 19. At the very least, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. Sometimes it takes you some space to recognize something. Sometimes you look back and you're like, what was I thinking? I have a lot of sympathy for mandatory conscription or mandatory service. When you are critical of that service, you yourself as having served can take time away or step back and recognize that what your state has done has been shit. I mean, I'm friends with, like, again, a surprising number of military bros. And the vast majority of them are like, yeah, no, I mean, I have served, and I know at least one person who's serving, and they're very critical of the government. They're very critical of the U.S. government. They're very critical of U.S. involvement in other states. But when you're at the point where you're saying, I'd rather find a way out of the IDF than be a secretary, that's just your words, man. That's just your words. That's not, I didn't make you say that. You said that. So if you were able to think of a way to get yourself out of being a secretary, you can't hide behind the mandatory service anymore. You just can't.
I want you to understand that the reason why she's saying this is so she can dehumanize this woman that she's watching, like Ethan's wife, and then make her an acceptable target for bad treatment.
Oh, you mean what you do to everyone that you don't like? You must understand this strategy well since you're so versed in it.
But I was like, I really
It's
don't
like self-reports consistently, dude. Fuck.
want you to create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3.
Create any bad memory for them.
Is this
You're
the
not
part-
forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old. Nah, yes, you are. No, you're not. It's like, which I already talked about this in the video, but I'm talking about childhood amnesia. You're welcome to do your own research on childhood amnesia. And I clarify later in the stream the ability to recall non-memorable experiences. 4 is the cutoff, but even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15. You have accidentally left the context here where I say it's not necessarily about forming the memories, it's about being able to recall them. Be 1 or 2 memories. Yes.
Okay, so then
Talking to a random stranger once isn't really memorable for a kid.
oh my God.
The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old. You're not really forming memories at 3. Which I pulled up the wrong piece of information here, but even this, people are suddenly pretending like this doesn't say 3.5, and they're pretending like it says 3. Like they're just like actively closing their eyes and closing their ears and being like, look, it says 3, and they're pretending like it doesn't literally say 3.5. But this is about your first formed memory. I was trying to find something. It says it earlier in the sentence about again, childhood amnesia.
You just read it.
Again, this is also about averages. Yeah.
Average also.
Pretty rare to be forming memories or like memories that you will keep. And also, I didn't say anything about trauma. Totally different conversation. Keep.
You see the goalpost?
Why does it matter also? Is CPS a strike force aiming to traumatize kids, or are they experienced in the field? I mean, that's its own other conversation, which I talk about as well in the video, that there is a very big difference between, like, for example, getting swatted and the interview that ended up happening, which Ethan Klein actually talked about in great detail on his show, where he explains what happened. And the person showed up and just said, hey, you know, well, how was your day? What do you do? I'm just here to make sure you're safe. Like that was the CPS evaluation.
Post moving 50 memories and memories that you will keep.
Like I can remember maybe, I don't know, 5 things that happened to me, maybe.
Oh God, this is really
And you can't even take care of your
Nothing to say. Nothing to say.
fucking kids. Why don't you tell your wife too? She should be taking care of your kids too. Both of y'all. Instead.
Do you notice how he immediately swaps to someone else because there's nothing else that he has to say about this? Because he can't remember anything because of all the mold in his fucking house. He wants so desperately to be like, yeah, well, I have a perfect memory, but like the mold has rotted him so bad he can barely remember what he ate the day before. This is really, you can remember more than 5? More than 1? Do you remember any? What the?
50 memories and memories that you will keep.
Like I can remember maybe, be forming memories or like memories that you will keep.
You see the goalpost moving 50 memories.
It's not a goalpost moving. I'm talking about childhood amnesia. I was talking about it from the very beginning. If you didn't understand that, you're just being disingenuous.
And memories that you will keep.
Like I can remember his only complaint about you is the stuff that he blatantly lied about. I mean, yeah, for a lot of these people, they just like lie and then they're like, can you believe that she would say this thing I made up? Like the very beginning where he's like, I can't believe she's saying that you can do whatever you want if someone doesn't remember. It's like, when did I say that? I literally didn't say that. You made that up. The source is that you made it the fuck up. Maybe, I don't know, 5 things that happened to me, maybe.
Oh God.
You implied it? No, I didn't, because if you keep watching the clip before it's deceptively clipped, I literally say it doesn't matter whether or not people can remember it because you shouldn't call CPS on people, except for like family vloggers that are abusing their children for fucking content, that are like putting their kids in front of the camera and being like, okay, Billy, it's time to stream your entire life. So no, I didn't imply it. I said the exact opposite, actually.
Really...
You can watch my video on it. I show the rest of the clip if you're interested. What's really cute is that they've tried really hard to like tie me with this other person that I don't know. And it's what they're currently doing with Bad Empanada. They're like, yeah, okay, well, maybe you didn't do any of the things that we accused you of doing and that we pretended like you did. But you know, you watch Bad Empanada, so you're basically the worst person in the world. It's like, what are you talking about? Okay, sorry, finishing up.
Calling CPS to investigate. They're calling CPS to do something in order to make this person's life worse.
First of all, in the state of California, as of, I believe, 2023, there was legislation that was pushed to require people to put their full name and their phone number with the report, for starters. But more importantly, Ethan Klein himself said that the CPS agent said that the person who put in the call was someone he knew. And he hasn't provided any proof or reason why we should believe that it was a random anonymous person.
Ethan needs to lawyer up and sue these people. I hope he...
Sue for what? There's nothing to sue for, man. He's not going to win this. He wouldn't, there's no, first of all, there's no suit. Second, even if he tried to, it would be considered frivolous because, again, there's no suit.
He does. These are people who are making false calls to...
In the same episode, Ethan literally said that the main suspects were Trisha mega fans.
Government places in order to execute an internet beef. This is disgusting behavior. And
I mean, it's not internet beef for me. It's internet beef for Ethan Klein, who is constantly beefing with everyone all the time, right? That's why he went on air and like accused Trisha of faking her infertility for some bizarre reason.
All of these people like Denims downplaying this. Oh, that's not...
Which I didn't downplay it. I explicitly said immediately when the clip ends, which it's very cute that the clip ends where it does right before I say it doesn't matter anyways because you shouldn't call CPS. CPS should be saved for people who are real scumbags.
Oh, but you're not getting memories at this age or whatever. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is so disgusting. Why would you talk like this? Why?
Because she's sympathy farming. I already talked about this.
Why would you act like this? It's outrageous.
It's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. Which this is true. This is literally true. People seem to think, by the way, that immune systems get stronger when you get sick, but it's not that the immune system necessarily is getting stronger. It's that you are now capable of fighting off that particular illnesses. There are a lot of illnesses that you can get as a child that can permanently stunt your development. Your immune system develops separately from your ability to collect illnesses. The illnesses, when you get some virus, your body just is now capable of fighting that one virus. The question is how much harm happens while that kid has contracted that virus. This is, so like, for example, with COVID, sure, let's say you catch COVID and your immune system fights it off. What was the cost of not having the vaccine, right? Maybe you got permanent lung damage. Maybe you got long COVID. Maybe you got semi-permanent fucking brain damage, right? Like the concern is that the damage to the body might not be worth the extra immunity to that particular, that particular virus, right? And again, with children, because their immune system isn't developed yet, and again, their immune system doesn't get developed because they get sick. It just is now able to fight off that particular illness and very similar strains. Your immune system develops separate from how often you get sick. And also, again, with something like Giardia, they're pretending like it's very common. It's not that common. And also in children, it has a risk of permanently stunting development. What I said is true. All infant that has no immune system shouldn't be catching anything. No wonder this motherfucker is always sick. Yeah. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is this happening? How is this happening?
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
It's so fucked. I thought Ethan was garbage content in the late teens. And Hassan roped me back in. No. The whole memory thing also feels very unnecessary too. Not the main thing going on. And also that clip happened days afterward. And I also denounced CPS like 10 seconds after that clip ends. I just think it's, okay, this is one thing I will say. One thing I'm going to say. I was thinking about talking about this in my video, but I figured it would just detract from the video. So I chose not to. But I kind of want to talk about it now. I do think it's very funny that Asmongold has such a hard stance on like, yeah, well, if you get banned or you get held responsible for what you say, that should be your fault. You're a grown adult. I mean, this is how he defended spreading this story about Rick Scott, right?
Let's see what the largest free speech defender had to say. He actually voluntarily brings this up in a YouTube video called "What the fuck is Twitch doing?" YouTube videos from 2 days ago with 1 million views. The first 13 minutes of it is just reacting to the latest Ethan Klein video, who is falsely smearing me as someone who doesn't care about Israeli civilians or whatever, which is obviously incorrect. He packaged that up with the libs of TikTok video to call for my banning.
It was not just libs of TikTok. I think that this is, again, it's an optics game where you're saying it's libs of TikTok because libs of TikTok is kind of a moron in a lot of cases. And so it's like, well, this person is doing it. And it's about kind of creating it to be a partisan political issue rather than just simply a behavior that's bad. You know, according to Hassan, it's my fault. It's Ethan's fault. It's Destiny's fault. Libs of TikTok's fault. It's everybody's fault except for his.
Isn't it hilarious that this guy whose entire shtick is, I just tell it like it is. I just tell the truth like it is. Sometimes there's roaches that climb into my dick hole and I just tell it like it is, man. Fuck, dude, I just tell it like it is. You know, maybe you shouldn't be saying stupid shit on your show if you don't want to be held responsible for the stupid shit you say on your show. And then when it comes to Ethan Klein in intense detail for 5 minutes straight discussing the nature of the diarrhea that him and everyone else in his household is having, suddenly it's everyone else's fault, not Ethan Klein's fault. Even though parents are the legal guardian for their children, it's everybody else's fault, not Ethan Klein's fault.
The reason that brought up about me, another big issue that a lot of these people have is that they think that the reason that they get banned and the reason that they get in trouble is because of somebody else, right? It's like, it's my fault. It's Ethan's fault. The fact is that sometimes people are just victims of their own bad decision making, right?
No one told Ethan Klein to get on his show and talk for 5 minutes in great detail about the liquid nature of the poops and how foul smelling they are. Nobody made him overshare that story. But suddenly, for some reason, it's nobody else's fault. It's not Ethan Klein's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's everyone else's fault. You used Pat Empanada as a source, and he lied. I didn't use him as a source. I watched Ethan Klein talking about the viscous or lack of viscous nature of his kid's poop. That's what I watched. I watched Ethan Klein talking.
Olive has Giardia, which is it's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
And Olive has this?
Olive has this, yeah. She came to us with it.
Okay.
She had diarrhea and...
oh, poor baby.
Ducky came to us with that too. And I just wonder why...
It's relatively common.
It should be... They should have found it already. But anyway... So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. And, well, Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
and now Ela has Giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh, my God.
What can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying to...
Because I'm not trying to get...
Can we crank the AC, maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop. Are you planning on that?
Never.
Not really.
So then you're fine.
But unfortunately...
So the problem is...
you just told us that your poop is flowing out of your mouth. It's like in the
literally.
air, bro.
That's not what I said. That's literally... That's what you
had
said.
caca breath.
No, that's what you said I said. Well, anyway, so let me continue, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So because, you know, it can go on surfaces and stuff. So, you know, Olive chews everywhere. So, you know, Sonny, it makes sense why he got it. Then once he starts having these crazy diarrheas, like in the middle of the night, all day, all the time he's having these crazy diarrheas, then when me and Ela start having to get in there and changing his diaper, obviously you put him down, you wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas.
And they put their hands into the poop.
So I haven't been diagnosed with it. Neither has Ela. Sonny went to the doctor today to get a poop evaluation, but I'm pretty sure he has it because the symptoms is like frequent and then extremely foul smelling diarrheas. And the first night, it happened last night in the middle of the night. I walked into his room. He was crying. Middle of the night, and I was immediately struck by the foulest his whole room was just wafting and the foulest diarrhea smell. And I was like, here we go, you know. So I get, and first of all, he doesn't want to get changed. He's in the middle of the night. He's tired. So you put him on the changing table, and he is thrashing like a fish out of water. And meanwhile, he is covered in viscous, or does viscous mean not flowing or flowing, or non-viscous?
Well, I think you have to phrase it like it either is highly viscous or it has low viscosity.
Which one is very flowy?
Flowy is low viscosity.
Yeah. So very, very low viscosity.
Hold on.
I think you're, yeah.
Is that right? I always get those backwards,
Viscous
so I'm doubting myself.
Having a thick, sticky consistency between solid and liquid.
The more viscous it is, the thicker it is.
Okay, so he had a very low viscosity,
yeah.
Diarrhea, and he was thrashing all around. So you can imagine it was not an easy task cleaning that up, and in the dark too, mind you.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, I get him changed, I put the diaper on, I put him back in his sleeping sack, and I want to put him on the ground because I didn't want him to, suffer. So I carry him into the bathroom to wash my hands, and I try to do a one-handed wash, which isn't good enough. So I'm holding him in this hand. I'm trying to do two hands. Point is, I washed my hands as best as I could.
Oh my God.
And obviously, after I put him down, I washed him again. Hila, on the other hand, she started having, and I don't want to out her, but very foul-smelling diarrhea.
So
now, this morning I had a diarrhea.
No.
And I'll say that it wasn't foul-smelling.
Shouts out, Hila. We love you.
We love you, Hila.
The thing is, they all smell the same. There's this similar foulness that it smells like. And now our other dog started farting, and it smells like this foul-smelling Giardia shit.
Y'all are missing the main point here, which is that Ethan has officially become a lol cow. Well, he's made one major mistake, which is that he became less funny the second he started caring so much about internet beef, even before the CPS thing, before people are like, well, he cares because it impacts his kids. Before that, he started caring about this Hassan beef and this Hassan feud for like a year now. And he's like way too invested. And you're never funny when you're that invested. It's just too hard to be funny. The crazy thing too is like the infosphere is like so fucked at this point that the second that any clip of mine is posted to any of these like more or less pestiny sites, so like
streaming.
live stream fails, for example, you post a clip of me saying Asmongold fucking telling it like it is. He's telling it like it is. Roach is climbing into his because he tells it like it is, but he won't call out Ethan Klein for, oversharing this story about his children. You post that on there, immediately will get downvoted and brigaded because again, it's a disinfo war. It is a disinfo war. He's not even trying to be funny anymore. He's just broadcasting his insecurity. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. I want him to get better, dude. I actually do. I'm not joking. I do want him to get better.